Across the country, tribes are gaining more say in land use decisions under so-called co-management pacts. The idea is spreading among federal and state agencies. Now, a central database of these pacts makes it easier for tribes to find best practices. Stuart Huntington has more for us.
Federal and state agencies are teaming up with tribes on many fronts, including wildfire and habitat management and support for sustainable hunting and gathering, says Starlin Miller from the Wilderness Society.
I think the Biden administration made co-management, co-stewardship a core component of strengthening the nation-to-nation relationship with tribal nations, including efforts to increase tribal co-stewardship of land and water, incorporating Indigenous knowledge into department work and where appropriate, and preserving and protecting sacred sites around the country, which has opened the door for greater collaboration.
And the practice is booming, says the USDA's Heather Dawn Thompson.
The Forest Service has completely changed the way they do business. And in 3 short years, we now have 180 co-stewardship agreements with tribal nations.
The criticism? The pacts have not consistently created equal partnerships. So the Native American Rights Fund, the Wilderness Society, and the universities of Washington and Montana have teamed up to pool co-management information into one database so tribes can better navigate the details, says NARF staff attorney Ada Montague Steepleton.
Where do we find the statutes? Where do we find the authorizing regulations? Where do we find the directives from the executive agencies, and then all the departmental guidance?
There's a need to create a space for resources, learning, conversation, a community of practitioners on the potential of co-stewardship and co-management tools. There's real opportunity and excitement within Indian country, I think.
At a vital intersection.
The way that we relate to land in this country is a problem. We need to fix it, and co-management and co-stewardship relationships are one way in that direction.
80% of the world's biodiversity are being managed by Indigenous peoples. I think the conservation community sees that Indigenous people and their knowledge are going to help with the climate change issues we're facing today. I think that there's a lot of opportunity on public lands for tribes to rekindle and reconnect with ancestral homelands. So there's a lot of possibility for systems of change right now. And I think that Indigenous voice and leadership has to be at the forefront. They have to be at the table. Nations need to lead the way.
There is new leadership at Portland, Oregon's Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. Yakima Nation citizen Shyla Spicer talks with ICT's Shirley Snavy.
She's been on the job for a couple of months. The Native Arts and Cultures Foundation transitions from its founding CEO, Lulani Arquette. But Shyla Spicer knows the organization and Portland, Oregon.
It's great. There's a lot. There's a lot of amazing things to know and learn. And I'm really just getting some time with my staff. And being back in the Portland community has been amazing. Yeah, it's just there's so much to know. And Lulani's left behind an amazing legacy and body of work that I get to pick up and run with. So I'm excited about getting the chance to do this work. What inspired me the most is being able to work in Native culture and arts, especially in my hometown in Portland. I'm most inspired because my family are artists and storytellers and culture keepers, and being able to support and uplift voices like theirs is incredibly important to me, and I see that's very important to us as Indigenous people.
In 2021, NACF received an amazing gift, a 40,000 square foot building. The Yale Union, a contemporary art center, gifted the building and its land. Built in 1908, YU was driven to give it to a Native organization as part of the Land Back movement.
Externally, it may look similar. Internally, we hope to find space for the community to be able to utilize it for performing arts, exhibition, gallery openings, performing practices, classes, anything that could eventually be available to our community as they would like to use it from a arts and culture perspective. we are still opening the building out on a monthly basis, working individually with artists, doing panels, and going on community tours. So we're inviting people in to come meet us, come see the building in its true form right now before any renovation happens. And we're currently starting to move into the building. So I think I'm the first, if not the second employee to actually work in the building itself. So we're really starting to make this space available to our community in Portland. I mean, how exciting to have a space that's defined by us, that's designed for us, and is available to our native culture keepers. There are some seismic upgrades that need to happen since it's the turn of the century building. So there will be some external modifications from a retrofit perspective. But other than that, yeah, we intend to look at it from a perspective where our community and our artists can come together to be able to share that piece of it within that building. I mean, I'm just getting started with this, but I do believe that we have four kind of key pillars that are very important from a cultural perspective. I think that Native Arts and Cultures Foundation will start to move towards, if not, we haven't already enhanced. But the first one would be social change, being able to uplift these voices that are driving social change. The second one is just Indigenous placekeeping. Now that we're place-based in Portland, Oregon, we have a world headquarters for the center. And that's very exciting for us. And that in that context, just what does historical preservation look like from our perspective and our narrative, I think is incredibly important to be able to share that context, especially in a place like Portland where there's an amazingly tight urban Native community. And then just the environmental stewardship piece of it, you know, the being the caretakers of our place is incredibly important to be able to share that story. And additionally, just the Indigenous cultural consciousness, the additional Native thought that continues to go into our center and the work that we continue to do to uplift our artists and amplify their voices as well. So those are kind of the key four pillars that I'm identifying, at least early on in this role, that I think are going to be our biggest focal points going forward.
Shirley Snavy, ICT News.